T minus 3, 2, 1, ignition.
What you know about this life? Yeah. Just relax, baby, get high. Yeah, you're on your way to the best night ever. No time on it, no time, no time.
Oh, sorry about that. I was just watching the video of the Philadelphia Eagles ass fuck me this weekend. Welcome back, everyone, to the Week 7 recap and the predictions. I'm going to get into the game-by-game matchups here in just a second, but I thought for my second go-around of doing the recaps, I'd do a little something extra. So I went through the league, went through everyone's team, and found some fun facts to basically prove a case to shit on you all as owners and your respective teams. Put a lot of work into this. Thank God that I was just bored as hell at work. So let's just jump right in. Michael, you currently have the best record in the league, but I'll tell you what, you should be ashamed. Your points allowed right now is at 726 points. That is 177.88 points less than the next lowest points allowed. Meanwhile, I have the highest points allowed with 1,064.46. That is a difference of 338 points. Just to put that into perspective for everyone, if in the next 2 weeks my opponents scored 0 points in each matchup, Michael's opponents could score 168 points each week, and he would still have a lower points against than myself. To put that number in perspective, 168 points would have been the highest score in the last 2 weeks. Michael, you have not been good. You have been so incredibly lucky. And trust me that karma will come for you, because last year I was in your position, and look at where I'm at now. All right, the next owner I'm going to shit on is Bobby. Congrats on getting one draft pick right. James Conner and Joe Mixon really worked out for you. Christian McCaffrey is destroying the league. He has scored 172.8 points this season, and that's including already having his bye week and a week where he put up just 6 points. Even with the bye week and the 6-point game included, Christian McCaffrey is scoring about 20% of your total points. To show just how much you are being carried by him, every single other running back that has ever been rostered by you this season, whether actually started or on your bench, has combined for a total of 215.1 points. That's only 42 points higher than what Christian McCaffrey has scored all season, which, let's be honest, that's basically one game from Christian McCaffrey. Just a reminder, Christian McCaffrey has had a bye and had a week where he scored 6 points. Guess who Bobby played when Christian McCaffrey had that dud? You're right, it's Michael. Bobby, your point differential is only 22 points, which is a ridiculously thin margin based on what your current record is. You've scored the third fewest points this season, but luckily for you, you've had the second lowest amount of points scored against you. Again, though, Michael has had 177 points less than that scored against him. So, while you are lucky, Michael is still luckier. Long story short, you don't deserve your record. Talking about people that do not deserve their record, Andrew, you've had a rough season. That's a pretty fair assessment. Losing your 2 quarterbacks, that's some shitty luck. However, you've also hurt yourself pretty bad. You've had some really poor transactions this year. Trades that did not go quite in your favor. The players you traded away and traded for, they clearly wanted to spite you this week. You made 2 trades. The combined points for the players that you traded away was 91.48 points this week. Pretty good margin. considering you traded away, 3-4 players? The players that you traded for scored a total of 8.56 points for you. That's about an 82-point difference. Not ideal. I'm also just going to throw in another little tidbit just to add insult to injury. You also dropped Allen Robinson at one point. He scored 19.7 points this week. I'm sure you would have liked to have that, especially now with Adam Thielen injured. However, can't blame you for everything. I went back through the past weeks, and you faced the highest score 3 out of the 7 weeks. So that's just some shit luck. That being said, I pray to God that this coming week I can make that 4 out of 8. All right, now it is time for me to shit on myself. I've had some bad luck this year. I think that's pretty obvious. Again, it's probably karma for last year for me having the lowest points against at a pretty awesome margin. I've already kind of highlighted how I've been fucked over, but I've also fucked myself over. As everyone knows, tight ends are terrible in fantasy football. This season is no different with Kelsey, Ertz. They're not even in the top 3. But shockingly, I just happen to have the second and third best tight ends on the season. Now you may ask yourself, Connor, how can you have 2 of the top 3 tight ends and continue to get shit production from that position and have your record be 2-5? Well, I'll tell you. I have started the lower scoring of my 2 tight ends 5 out of the 7 weeks this season. Important to note also that one of those weeks, Waller was on a bye, so I had no choice. So basically, I have gotten 1 in 7 weeks right. In total, I've missed out on 112.8 points. That is the cumulative number of points by a tight end that I have left on my bench. That number is 5 points higher than Austin Hooper's total points. He's currently the tight end 1 by a pretty good margin. That being said, for fuck's sake, please someone make me a trade offer for one of my tight ends. I cannot keep doing this week after week. Next on the shit list is Thomas. Thomas, you've had a fairly respectable season. Your record, still not great, but you're climbing. Wasn't super easy to find something to shit on in regards to your team, except that you are just a really fucking terrible manager, and you don't deserve the absolutely loaded team that you have been gifted with. You're currently the 3rd highest scoring team, but what's pretty pathetic is that if you actually knew how to start the right players week in and week out, you would, without a doubt, be the highest scorer. So I actually did the math, and this was a pain in my ass. But you have left 474.77 points on your bench. That is the highest in the league by a huge margin. The next highest is Nick Hill with 414 points. So yeah, you've left 60 more points on your bench than even the next best person. I'll tell you just average-wise, basically everyone was in the low 300s, high 200s range. So yeah, you were just significantly worse at starting players. Fortunately, all your players are good, so I guess you're a winner in that sense. But damn it, man, just start playing the right players or trade some away. I know Andrew is looking to shake things up with his roster, and trades usually work out pretty well for him. Maybe you should talk to him about that. And then Nick Hill. Congrats on also having an almost winning record because your team sucks. Outside of Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, and the Patriots' fucking defense, your team is trash. Those 3 players have accounted for 463 points, which is just over 46% of your entire team's points. That is the second highest in the lead. It is almost first. You're just like 0.5% behind Jacob, who has Mahomes, Watson, and Dalvin Cook. Onto the Patriots defense, because this is just so fucking stupid. They've scored 152 points, which is 56 points more than the next best defense. That 152 points would make the Patriots defense the 6th highest scoring quarterback in our league. it would make them the third highest running back and the best receiver. So I guess it's good for you. Congrats on getting lucky by having a once-in-a-lifetime fantasy defense carry you to any type of relevance. Still probably won't make playoffs, but that defense, that's your keeper one right there. Okay, on to Jacob. Jacob, your team's fairly respectable, led by a couple star players. You have the most points scored, so can't argue against that. And then you're middle of the pack for points allowed, so it's not like you're getting super lucky week in and week out. That being said, your team is arguably the most top-heavy in the league, with 3 players accounting for basically half of your total points. It's a little dangerous, especially with Mahomes now being injured. He alone has accounted for 17% of your team's total points. And take it from me, the backup quarterback market is not great. Outside of Watson and Cook, your next highest scorer is Mark fucking Ingram. Kerryon Johnson just got hurt too. He's on IR. So you're pretty dangerous there. As far as your running backs go, depth is pretty terrible. Juju's really kind of fucked you over. Although you haven't even had any injuries there, so I don't know what your excuse is for being so terrible at that position. Tyler Lockett is your best receiver, and he is the 10th highest scorer, scoring tight end in the league. Just to put that into perspective, there are 3 teams in the league that have at least 2 receivers that are higher scoring than him. So that's pretty pathetic. All in all, you've had a great run. You've ridden the backs of your quarterbacks and Dalvin Cook. Sure would be a shame if another one of them got hurt, wouldn't it? Okay, and lastly, literally last, is Cam. Cam, not much to say. Your team is just really terrible. 500 points, that's how much you've scored. That is by far the lowest margin in the lead. The difference between you and Jacob is 235 points. That's probably like 5 more games at the rate your team goes before you could even, catch up to his score. It's hard for me to really pick one area in particular to make fun of you. You've had some bad luck. Players just haven't panned out. I will critique your drafting. Finally settled on that. You were fortunate enough to get the number 1 pick. Barkley, solid pick. If he hadn't gotten hurt, probably wouldn't be talking about this, but he did get hurt. And that means that you passed on Christian McCaffrey, who, as I mentioned earlier in this, is just a fucking god. McCaffrey has scored 109 more points than Saquon Barkley. You also selected Todd Gurley with your 3rd-round pick. To make that pick, you passed on players like Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, and Keenan Allen. Gurley had the knee injury. It was big risk. Bottom line, he's just kind of sucked. And worst of all, this is really the backbreaker for you. You drafted Baker Mayfield in the 6th. People can't really blame you, I guess. Hindsight is 20/20, but the 6th round, and he has been really bad. Last I checked, he was ranked as the 28th best quarterback in our league as far as points goes. Just to kind of let you know what you miss out on by drafting him where you did. You could have had Matt Ryan, who I believe is quarterback 1, maybe not after this week, but top player for sure. Carson Wentz. Fortunately enough, you ended up with him anyways. Also passed on Derrick Henry and Kenny Golladay. I would have really been able to shit on you for your drafting because you also drafted Melvin Gordon. But then I was stupid enough to trade for him. So I do have to applaud you for trading me the corpse of Melvin Gordon. You kind of dodged a bullet there as far as me being able to criticize you even further. Cam, I appreciate your openness to the tank. Hey, there's always next year, buddy.